Millia is such a difficult character. She's just jumping around in the air constantly. I can't deal with it. Oh my god, the disc is impossible to solve. I can't beat this thing. How do I win? Trying to help you out with my character. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Beat My Character, I guess. Today, I'm going to talk all about how to beat Millia. Rather than making a Millia get started guide or something like that, there's tons of those on the internet already. It's not that useful. Let's talk about beating Millia, though, because, well, you're going to have to fight a Millia at some point, so let's talk about how to fight her. Before we begin, let's just talk about her general weaknesses, and, like, this will be important because we're going to be thinking about this a lot and how to get back to the positions where Millia isn't very good to defeat her. Millia has a few weaknesses. The first is that she's low hit points. Effectively, she has bad guts, which just basically means she doesn't get a huge amount of damage reduction as her health goes down. She has low hit points in general. Like, she will explode when you hit her. So in general, if you basically get two good combos on Millia, she will die. You will win. That's all you're looking for. The other thing with Millia is she doesn't really have fast buttons in neutral. This is a concept that blows people's minds because, oh, she's so quick. She's Millia, right? She's fast. Oh, look at her go. Woo! Her buttons are slow. She doesn't have a 3 frame. She doesn't have anything like that. Her fastest button is 6 frames, and I think it's this. I think this might also be 6 frames. This might be 7. These are definitely 7 frame buttons. She does not have a fast button. Chances are your character has a faster button than Millia. That means in terms of like when there's block stun going on and when you're like blocking stuff, she cannot just block and like try and mash buttons out of it very effectively. This is really useful for people like Sol, like Chip, like Leo, anyone who has like tiny gaps, Geo. She doesn't really want to try and commit to mashing a button to try and get out. She's just not very good at doing that. What she'll try and use instead is reversal throws. She'll try and use reversal supers. She'll try and use burst. She'll try and use YRC. She has these options to get out of pressure, but once those options are gone, she's going to struggle. The other fact is she's not that good on the ground. Like her jab, for example, whiffs over low hits. This has very short range. This is a good button. This is a good button. And the rest of her buttons are just kind of air. Like as far as fast slashes go, her fast slash isn't that good. It has a big hurt box on it. It's not very active. It's quite slow. Her close slash is quite good. Her heavy's a bit slow and a bit clunky and awkward. This doesn't hit very far and has a big hurt box on it. Like, it's not a disjoint. It will just, you can blow her up for doing that. Her moves in neutral are not that good. Like, she does not want to fight you with the grounded neutral that Guilty Gear is famous for. She doesn't want to engage like this at all. So, therefore, your objectives are to get 2 good combos on Millia and to force her to engage you on grounded neutral. And then maybe some kind of stagger pressure or something like that where she has to contest with something big or risky to try and get out of that pressure. Yes, a very good Millia will know where the gaps are and will, like, you have to lab and research and figure out where you can start pressing buttons like this or like this or like this or like this to escape from pressure, but that takes practice and time. Let's talk about where Millia is strong. Millia is strong in the air. She loves being in the air. She has 2 air dashes, which makes her more agile than most other characters in the sky. She has further ways to basically alter her air trajectory. She has fairly good air normals. They're very specific, though. So this, for example, hits quite high up. This hits, this hits very low down. This launches her in an awkward path. The hitbox on this for what's meant to be a fast air normal isn't that great. This is a good button, but it's a jump punch. Like, it's not that useful. It's good for contesting air to air, but she doesn't really want to use this. Like, it's a great button, but she doesn't get any juice out of it, and Millia wants juice. So, hey. Of course, her other strength being the set play that Millia is kind of famous for, right? She loves these kind of situations where she can set up her disc, and then she can do kind of things. She can Mirage, like this command dash is very useful for breaking up her offense and basically making sure that you never know what's going to come next. So she can do all sorts of different pressure out of it. She's very good at getting left-right mix-ups. She's very good at getting high-low mix-ups. You'll see this string a lot out of Millia's. And yeah, she's got strengths. She's definitely like a good character at this point. Let's talk about beating some of this stuff. First things first, let's deal with her getting in. The general game plan, I would say, for a good Millia is super jump, dash, dash, Capel. Right? This is oftentimes how I will start my rounds, is something like this. Something along these lines. Just to try and basically get pressure out and just try and mess with people a little bit. And the reason why I do this is oftentimes people are very impatient with their anti-airs. Here's the thing with Millia, especially once you super jump. She has several different ways to engage with you, but they're all going to result in her coming to you, right? She is going to come towards you. The big question is she going to come to you on the left or the right? If she jumps back, for example, and dashes forward and Capels, hey, once the Capel is out, she has committed. She cannot move any further. Unless she does something wacky like this, But even then, she's like committed to the jump arc still. You can't dash after the Capel. She is going to land in this angle. What this means is once you've seen the Capel, you know that she's going to come in. That's when you want to start using your anti-air. That's when you want to use your 6P. That's when you want to use whatever anti-air button you want to use. What you don't want to do is use big, high-commitment anti-airs on the floor. Kai's a bit of an exception because, yeah, Kai's got a really good anti-air button in this. Like, it's got a nice disjoint on it. He can catch a lot. But even this is risky. Like, if a Kai just stands on the ground spamming this... actually, let's set this up. Right? Right, it's not that hard for me to find a gap and find a way in. If I see people spamming like that, I can generally whiff punish it, or I can find a way through, and we can get in. If the Kai's a lot more patient, though, and especially if you have like good anti-air jabs, for example, Sol is a good example. Sol's jab is great anti-air. If you have just low commitment anti-air buttons, that's fantastic. Generally, wait for her to start coming in, and then press your anti-air button. You want to just time this very specifically, and if you get it right, you will counter hit her and you will blow her up, and she will just take a ton of damage. In other words, don't mash anti-airs. The other aspect is if she starts doing this shenaniganery where she's basically above you, going back and forth. There's a couple of options to deal with this, right? The first is just have a good anti-air that just goes straight up. If she's right above you, this is risky, but if she blocks it, she just gets launched out, she resets to neutral. Hey, that's good for you. Alternatively, this is always an option. Just run away. Just get out of there. Find a way out, and you should be okay. Maybe not Fudra arc. But just get out of there. What you don't want to do, let's talk about what not to do against Millia in the air, is you don't want to jump in and press big, high-commitment buttons. She can control her movement in the air, and this is something that Millia players will get good at and learn eventually, is they will learn how to control their movement in the air, and they will learn how to dodge your bullshit. So they're looking for you to press these big high commitment buttons, because as a Millia player, I am looking to hit you with this. I really want to hit you with this. I want you to jump into the air and contest me with a big slow button, so I can hit you with this. Also, don't do this. If I see people doing this, I know it's Christmas. I know it's party time. This will work against bad Millias, but I think good Millias will spot this out. The reason being, again, I will spot that you're just jumping, mashing punch into the air to try and contest me in the air. I will just jump back and then hit you with this. And I'll just look for this. Again, get free counter hits. I see Souls do this a lot where they'll jump into the air and like start jumping towards me, mashing punch. And I'll just jump back, tag them, and then get close slash and get a party starter. Not a good idea. The button you're looking for is jump kick. On most characters, jump kick is honestly the answer. The reason being, jump kicks tend to be good air-to-airs. They tend to go forward quite a long way. Millia doesn't have a lot of high-reaching horizontal reach, especially fast off the ground. Like, this is fairly quick, but it hits very high up. So if we both jump and both press a button at the same time, I'll actually hit over the Kai, and he will just kick me in the chest. This is a fairly fast button, but it's not a real party starter. Like, I can jump dust out of it, but it's not ideal. It's definitely not as good as like Kai's jump kick, for example. So what I tend to see, especially like good Kai players do, is they'll spot where, like, they'll put me in block stun, they'll spot that I want to jump out, because of course I want to jump out, I want to get to the air, and they'll chase me with jump kick. So they'll like, you know, they wouldn't do a clutch, but they'll do like this, and then they'll just chase with a jump kick. And all they're looking to do is just catch me, put me in block stun, and jail me back down to the ground, where then they can just continue their, like, whatever it is Kai players do. If I contest in the air with jump kick, I know that I can't just get freely to the sky, and once I can't get freely to the sky, I'm going to have to fight you on the ground. That's bad for me. I don't want to do that. I really don't want to do that. So jump kick, or just learn your fast, long-reaching air-to-airs. You don't want a slow button. You don't want to try and do it with jump heavy, because if you do jump heavy, I'm just going to hit you with jump slash. My jump slash comes out faster, I get a counter hit, I win. Right? And I will just play keep away from your big slow buttons. You want fast buttons, but you don't want to mash them. You want to be deliberate and specific and targeted and precise. I'll also just briefly mention, if you're a Giovanna player, jump kick, jump dust, jump heavy, like all Giovanna's air-to-airs are really good. It's part of why Millia has a hard time in the matchup. Giovanna is fast and can keep pace with her and get away from pressure very quickly, and Giovanna has good air-to-airs. Next thing we're going to talk about is Mirazh. First thing you need to know about Mirazh, it has a hitbox on the bottom of it. So if I set Kai up to just do this, if I try and dodge this in so many different ways and timings, I will never be able to get through this move. Right? He will hit me out of the Mirazh every single time. there is a hurt box on the bottom of this move. So any move that hits low to the ground will stop any Mirage shenanigans, first and foremost. Second, any move that is very active. So if I just do this, I might be able to get through this. This hits low anyway, so yeah, it's going to catch me no matter what. The moves that Mirage is good against are moves like this, that are long-reaching, but not very active, and you can just dodge through the active frames, especially if they have big recovery. You will just dodge straight through stuff like that. So just be very careful about that in neutral. You can also always throw Mirage, so if Millia is trying to like do shenanigans like this on your wake-up, just throw the bitch. Like, you will get her every single time. The real danger of Mirage is her ability to cancel out of any string at any point. Right? All of her moves, except for this, at like 6H1, the first hit of this, is cancelable at any point into Mirage. Like, I can let 2 hits rock, I can let 1 hit rock, I can do this and cancel, I can do this and cancel, I can do this and cancel. Right, this even catches people out. So she can cancel at any point. You just have to learn to watch for it. Here's the thing, if she cancels into Mirage and tries to throw you, which is oftentimes what they'll go for, you can beat that every single time with a throw. You will always beat her with a throw. So she cannot set you up in any situation where she can throw you before you can throw her, first and foremost. So the moment you see her go for this Mirage, know that you can throw her. You can throw her during the Mirage, you can throw her after the Mirage. You can just jump out of that pressure at that point. You can try and press a button, but that's risky. Like, I have dash through jabs occasionally when people try to jab check this, so be careful about doing that. In general, fuzzy throw is a very good option. So just during Millia pressure, if you're holding back and then after you're blocking something, just tap the dust button, you'll generally catch her out of any shenanigans. The second set of shenanigans comes off this move. There's a couple of things about this move you need to know. I hate that I'm revealing this to you. So I'm going to set Kai up with 3 actions. You can see him right here. Let's set him up with the first one. Action 1. Is that after block? Yeah, good. It's not a true block string. There is a gap that's about 1 or 2 frames. I think it's like 2 frames. You can just DP out. After you block the first hit, input DP, and you'll probably blow out of it every single time. You can practice this, you can lab this. And here's the really dirty part. Any move I cancel out of this, I can just about grab the reversal. I have to be really on the ball to get that. You can't jump out of this, but you can also backdash. Backdash will get you out of the second hit of this. It will also dodge any attempt to throw. It will also not fall to Bad Moon. Backdash is a great option out of this, especially in mid-screen, but even towards the edge of the screen. Not that she can like try and follow you in with other buttons, but I can't cancel out of this anymore as well because this is whiffing. Because this is whiffing, I don't get a cancel anymore. Right, I can't cancel out of this second part. You can see me like mashing Capel. Not Capel, Mirage. I don't get to cancel. So just backdashing out of that second hit is great. Do not try and throw out of this immediately. You will get hit by the second one. This, I imagine, is where most of my counter hits from this hit come from. Is people trying to throw out of this. The dangerous part of a counter hit on this part is if I'm quick enough, I get a free reset, right? So yeah, don't try and just spam throw out of everything. You can also, honestly, just react. Like, once he hits this point, you know what's coming. And especially if Millia likes doing this, you will probably be able to react to this every single time. It's not that quick. But at this point, there is a gap. You can jump, you can throw. If Millia is autopiloting to this, like, you can absolutely beat this every single time. With a throw, with a jump, with a backdash, you have plenty of options. It gets trickier when the Millia starts to do this, but understand this is punishable, especially from 6H. This is punishable because you'll see that she gets a bit of forward momentum. She, like, jumps towards you. You can punish this. You can punish this. You cannot punish this. This is a frame trap. This will catch you out. So just be a little bit careful about that. But if she does this without meter, like, you can punish that. Blow that up. In general, the trick to blocking against Millia is be observant. Like, she's going to try and do something tricksy at some point. She can do it from here. This move is jump cancelable, so oftentimes I will just reset into that, but you can go into a TK Bad Moon, if I get the input right. There we go. So she can TK Bad Moon and try and get you with an overhead, just block standing at this point. can go for the low. But oftentimes, this is a habit that I have, and I imagine I'm not alone in this as a Millia player. They will have a string that they prefer. For me, it's going into this, right? And I have a really bad habit of just defaulting to this every single time. Once you see this coming, there's only so many options. It's when the Millias do this, but then they also do this, right? Or they do this. Or they do this. Or they do this. That's when it gets tricky. That's when the Millia starts opening you up a lot more, and the answer to that is Fuzzy Jump is okay. Fuzzy Jump will do alright, but again, they can read that, they can try and air throw you, they can just try and hit you out of the sky with this if you're trying to get fancy with buttons. Be a little bit careful, but it will get you out. Just try and get out of the corner as fast as you can. And yeah, the other answer is just simply FD. Like, FDing Millia works extremely well. Using Faultless Defense pushes Millia out super far. And it makes any attempt to like Mirage and throw a little bit trickier, especially this string. It launches her out miles. Like, you can see how much distance I was just pushed out. If I see you Faultless Defensing, though, I will be trying to do stuff like this. Like, I assume that you're locked into defense as an option, so I will just start doing stuff like this. But Faultless Defense will generally push her out quite aggressively. A couple of other bits and pieces about blocking Millia. This is not real. You can 6p that. If I set Kai here to counterattack settings after block 6p. High 6p is really good, I know, but even if I side switch, I think this will get me. But yeah. Soul can 5k this. Hot can 5p this. Like, the overhead into overhead is not real. So knowing that's very useful. So just understand, that's not real, right? What Millias will often do is this. They'll go high-low. Let me turn off FD, because it's pushing me out far enough where this has stopped working as well. It's a really good tool. Use it. Right? You'll often see Millias do this. The reason is we're looking for this. All of our game plan is looking for that. And let's talk about why. It's time to talk about the disc. Talk about HDisc first. 236H. It's Millia's best button. It's what her entire game plan is centered around. She wants to set you up on this. First thing you need to know. 2D into HDisc is very difficult to mess with. This is going to hit meaty, so the moment that Kai can be hit, the disc is hitting him. What this means is you can't jump out of it, you can't contest it with a fast button, you can't backdash it, you can't do anything to get out of that disc in terms of safe maneuvers. You can, however, invincible reversal it. This means if the Millia is trying to get overly fancy, you will just blow your way out. You can try and reversal super it. I don't recommend it. I'll play a clip of why. This is me and a friend having a fight. And yeah, it doesn't work out well for it. The Millia just stays away, the vulnerability frames will end, and you're not anywhere out of the disc. Now, it's not to say that the reversal is 100% safe. Millia actually has a few options against it. The first is just dropping, and then she can get a punish, right? So, as a Millia player, especially against Sol, Kai, and Leo, I will be looking for this option quite aggressively. As Kai's not so much. Some Kais are like very aggressive with this, but Leo and Sol especially, I'll be looking for Flash Kick or for Volcanic Viper a lot. It's worth just doing it once or twice, though. It is worth showing the Millia that you are willing to do this option. The reason why is if you do this, I cannot do a side switch on you. Not very easily, at least. Like, I have to time it really specifically to land that, and I don't know the timing for that. I imagine most Millia players who aren't pro level don't know how to do that. Like I said, there are safe things I can do, but a lot of the shenanigans I get out of the disc, such as going in for a 2K, going in for a low, stop working. When I'm scared of the DP, I don't get to do as much cool stuff. So just understand that it is an option. Once you introduce the reversal super or the reversal DP as an option, that's when I need to start thinking carefully about how I'm going to approach this. And that's when you'll start seeing me, like me especially, but other Millias as well, just sort of land in front of you and wait. And once I've landed in front of you, I can't really do much aside from going and resume pressure with this or going for a throw, in which case you can throw me, like you can just try and anticipate the throw, you can try and get a jab out, you can try and reversal after the disc is gone. Otherwise, this is just a difficult situation. Like, you are going to have to guess. There are a couple of ways to narrow down the options. She can basically go switch sides. She can go low. She can go overhead. She has options. She has... The only option that isn't, like, true is the side switch low. In the event that he blocks this and I land and go for the low, the only thing I get out of that is resetting back into this. Which is good. I'll take that. But if he blocks it all and I go for a side switch, yeah, all I'm getting is this, and then I'm going back to this. Right, now, this is just observation. You have to observe what habits the Millia likes going into, and it's up to the Millia to diversify her options. There are also ways of limiting options, so if I'm all the way out here and I hit with a sweep, as like just on the edge, I cannot side switch from this distance. Right, I'm just not going to be able to make that side switch. The distance for the side switch, even that isn't technically a side switch. I have to be about this distance before I can get the side switch. If I'm really close to you, I can actually get a double. Right? I actually have enough time to do, I think, both, and like really mess with your blocking. Millia's like the side switch a lot, just be ready for it. You're basically watching for that like ring to appear. Once you see that, you just have to block the side that the Millia's on. It's difficult. No one said it was going to be easy. This is Millia's win condition, so hey. The other options are all just kind of variants on this, but in general, you're looking for high-low. A good idea is just to like, what I see good people do to block this quite a lot is they'll just kind of follow the Millia. So if I'm going for a high-low mix, they'll just kind of follow me, just block the first hit standing, and then try and block the second hit crouching. And that's usually a good idea, right? Because it takes me a little bit of time to land and hit. The first hit will put them in block stun, the second hit, they just need to block the low. Because once I've landed, I can't overhead you. Like, I'd have to do this, and it's possible, but that's a lot of hoo-ha. The real juice comes from this disc. This disc is made of lies. Any disc that isn't the 2D disc is made of lies. Let me show you why. So as you can see, he can get out of this disc. Now here's the thing. Once Millia blocks or takes any damage, the disc just vanishes. So during this tiny gap, the Kai is just looking to make me block. You can do this by just doing like jump punch, jump K, just jumping out. If you're going to jump out, I recommend just getting out. You don't really want to fight Millia above her own disc. If I see people are jumping out, I'll generally just back up and then try and catch their escape with a jump slash. If I know they like jumping out of the disc, I will generally just give them a little bit of room. Let them either land back in the disc, because you'll see Kais do this a lot. They'll just jump straight up and just hit jump heavy and then land in the disc again. It's hilarious. I'll just usually give them enough space to kind of hang themselves, and then I'll just try and catch them escaping. You can also always just reversal this disc, but honestly, you don't need to. What this does is it sets up a rock, paper, scissors situation, because if you don't block this disc, it's very difficult for me to side switch it. I can do it with the jump P, not the jump P, just the neutral P. I'll just be able to side switch it. A lot of jump Ps won't hit high enough. If you do hit high, like, the P is very much an option. But 6P, for example, will catch me. That being said, this disc is true if I do this. Okay? So, I have an option to land with jump K, and I should be able to catch you every single time. I think 6P will beat the jump K. Maybe it won't. Yeah, 6P beats the jump K, but if I do that, I will win every time as well. The point of contesting this isn't necessarily to stop it. Here's the thing with Millia, her combos don't do that much damage. Like, you are not going to get blown up. The most damage you're going to take is about 150. You can take 3 or 4 of those before you start dying. The point is not to escape it on the first one, it's to make the Millia go, oh, damn, he's contesting this. Okay, now when I do this setup, I have to try and just do these very linear mixes. Because all you're doing is limiting my options. Because if you're doing a 6P on wake up, for example, I have to do this. or I have to do this. I think this might work. Right? I don't get anything out of that. But my options suddenly are limited. So if you're doing 6p every single time, sure, I can beat it. But you're setting up a rock, paper, scissors, and you're setting up a situation where I can't freely go for a high-low mix. I can't go for a side switch. I can't go for an overhead into overhead mix. I can't do all these different options that I want to be doing to you to mix you up. I'm suddenly limited to same side and just trying to catch you out pressing buttons. I have basically been forced to respect your options. Let's review quickly. Okay? First things first, Millia in grounded neutral is not that strong. You have many ways of beating her in this. She does not want to fight you here. You want to get her in this situation. Right, if Millia resets you with a wall splat like this is actually okay for you. You are actually fine with this. The annoying part about playing Millia, and this is like Millia pet peeves, is that oftentimes your air combos will wall splat like crazy. So you want to be really careful about, like, especially if you're close to the wall. This is why a lot of Millias try and use the rejump combos, because this is not an ideal situation for the Millia. Sure, I get some good damage out of it, right? I get some okay damage out of this, but I don't want to be here. I don't want to be in neutral. What I want to have, and this is why you'll see Millias use this super often, I want this to happen. I want this knockdown because that gives me a side-to-side mix-up, it gives me a jump-in mix-up, it gives me pressure, and it lets me reset my offense. Millia is absolutely a character that wants to smother you. She wants to just be on the offense at all times, making you guess what she's going to do next. Otherwise, she wants to be high, high, high in the sky. She wants to be up in the air, avoiding all your bullshit and trying to make you guess about when she's going to engage. She wants to come in unpredictably, but if you are patient and if you know your good anti-airs and know how to use them well, you can catch it out of this stuff and you can absolutely blow her up. Her air-to-airs are mixed in terms of how good they are. They are very specific. They are great if she's being precise with them. Basically, if you're jumping around mashing big buttons, she can absolutely bop you out of the sky. If you're being precise with quick, efficient buttons, however, she will have a hard time dealing with that. Do not chase her into the sky. Like, if she gets away with a super jump, do not try and jump up and follow her. It is very difficult. Chip can kind of do it, but even then, the Millia is just as agile in the air as the Chip is, so she has options, and she has options to fake the Chip out even as well, so be careful. Otherwise, her pressure string will have a gap in it at some point. You can use that to jump out, you can use that to try and use a 3-frame button, you can use that to do a fuzzy throw, you can use that to do a reversal of some kind. You have options to do that. And otherwise, try and learn the difference, lab the difference between the discs, okay? Set up a Millia bot to do this, or something like that. Just set her up to do like this into a few different options and see how it feels trying to escape from those. In general, you can always use a DP to reversal your way out, as long as you input it correctly. You can jump out of throw discs and you can challenge with throw discs. Just be careful if the Millia is looking for it. She has options to beat you. And if a disc looks a little bit hazy, so oftentimes like you'll see Millias try and do what I call bullshit discs. This disc, for example, this disc is kind of true. In the corner, the haircar disc is kind of true, but honestly, it's always a risk. Like, this is a little bit tricksy and the timing on it's a bit awkward. So you can contest that disc as well. In general, getting out of the disc is going to be better than trying to fight it, because if I see someone trying to constantly jab and fight and spam out of the disc, I will just start jumping away from it and let them pop out themselves. Punish this. Punish this into this. This is absolutely punishable. Close slash or fast slash will oftentimes just catch that and blow her the hell up. And that's how you beat Millia. Easy, right? Just simple. She's a tricky character. She's designed to put you on the back foot and just continually loop pressure against you. It's okay to feel overwhelmed. Use your burst, use your YRC, use your FD, use your tools to escape her pressure, and you should be fine. Even knowing all these answers isn't enough to guarantee you beat a good Millia player. There is no one true answer. If there was, the game would be dull and fighting games would be boring in general. If you have any other tips about fighting Millia, do let me know. I'd love to read them because I like learning counters to my characters, so I can try and develop counters to the counters. But otherwise, it's a very simple breakdown of a few ways that you can beat a Millia player. Thank you for watching to the end. I've been Just One Voice amongst many, and I'll see you on the next one.